Imagine a man sitting across from you, calm, seemingly indifferent. On the surface, he appears composed, confident, maybe even unaffected. But beneath that carefully constructed exterior lies something deeper, something few women ever see. Carl Jung taught us that every human psyche has layers, conscious and unconscious, known and hidden. When a woman stops needing a man, when she claims her power, stops seeking validation, and becomes emotionally self-reliant, it triggers a profound reaction in his unconscious. He may not speak it aloud, he may not even fully understand himself, but it emerges nonetheless. This reaction is not about control or manipulation. It is about the shadow, the part of him that he hides from the world, from himself, and often from the women who matter to him most. In this video, we will explore the hidden emotional truths men experience when women stop needing them. Jungian insights into shadow work, projection, and Anima/Animus dynamics. Why independence can awaken obsession, attraction, and hidden desire. The subtle psychology of power, vulnerability, and emotional awakening. By the end, you'll understand not only his hidden reactions, but also how this knowledge gives you psychological clarity and emotional empowerment. Lean in, because the moment you stop needing him is the moment his hidden self begins to reveal itself. When a woman stops needing a man, it isn't just a shift in behavior. It is a shift in energy. Jungian psychology teaches that every relationship functions as a mirror, reflecting both conscious and unconscious aspects of ourselves. Independence acts like a mirror, reflecting a man's unacknowledged desires, fears, and insecurities. Suddenly, the dynamic changes. Where once you may have been seeking reassurance, approval, or validation, now you stand grounded, self-contained, and emotionally sovereign. This awakening triggers a shadow response. The shadow, in Jungian terms, is a collection of thoughts, feelings, and impulses we hide from ourselves. In men, the shadow often includes vulnerabilities, dependency fears, and unprocessed emotional needs. When a woman no longer fulfills these needs externally, the shadow stirs. A man may appear calm, even distant, but beneath the surface, there's a complex emotional storm. Fear of loss, intrigue at your autonomy, and a rising awareness of his own unacknowledged desires. Projection and the hidden self. Projection is the unconscious mechanism by which we attribute our hidden qualities onto others. In relationships, men unconsciously project aspects of their own anima, their inner feminine, onto women. When a woman stops needing him, he may feel confused attraction, drawn to her independence yet unsettled by it. He may criticize, withdraw, or test boundaries, projecting his fears of inadequacy onto her. He may attempt subtle control or manipulation, often without conscious intent, to reclaim the dynamic he's unprepared to face within himself. This is not malicious. It is the unconscious seeking resolution. Jung teaches that these moments are opportunities for both individuals to encounter the deeper truths within themselves. Emotional triggers and awareness. A man's hidden reaction manifests in subtle emotional triggers. You may notice a sudden desire to prove himself or impress you, moments of unexpected intensity in conversation or attention, withdrawal followed by pursuit, unexpected vulnerabilities surfacing in small gestures or words. These responses are not random. They are reflections of his shadow, awakened by your self-sufficiency. From a Jungian perspective, the unconscious seeks wholeness. The tension you feel is the friction of his shadow interacting with your independent energy. It is magnetic, mysterious, and profoundly revealing. The anima and masculine response. Every man carries an anima, the inner feminine aspect of the psyche. This inner feminine governs emotional depth, receptivity, and relational intuition. When a woman stops needing a man, it can activate his anima in unexpected ways. Heightened emotional sensitivity. Subtle expressions of longing or admiration. Deepened curiosity about your thoughts, feelings, and intentions. A mix of fear and desire, uncertainty, and fascination. This is the moment where psychological depth meets raw attraction. The more autonomous and emotionally self-contained a woman becomes, the more profoundly a man's anima and shadow are stirred. When you stop needing a man, you are no longer just interacting with his conscious self. You are engaging with his shadow, the hidden aspects of his psyche. Jung taught that the shadow contains all the qualities a person denies or represses. Fear, insecurity, dependency, anger, and unacknowledged desire. For a man, the presence of a woman who is emotionally independent forces a shadow into the open. Suddenly, he becomes aware of what he's been suppressing. The need for validation, the fear of inadequacy, the longing for connection, and even the subtle guilt of dependency. These feelings are not easily acknowledged, so they often manifest as curiosity, tension, or subtle behavioral shifts. Projection loops and psychological magnetism. Projection is a powerful tool in Jungian dynamics. When a woman steps into her emotional sovereignty, a man unconsciously projects his own unfulfilled needs and suppressed traits onto her. He may perceive her as mysterious, aloof, or unattainable. He may assign qualities to her that reflect his inner feminine, intuitive, nurturing, or wise, without realizing he is projecting his anima. This projection creates a psychological magnetism. He feels drawn to her, yet simultaneously unsettled, because she's reflecting what he refuses to acknowledge within himself. This is why independence is so compelling. It triggers attraction on an unconscious level, while stirring inner turmoil that he cannot articulate. Attachment dynamics in masculine psychology. Attachment patterns further explain a man's hidden reaction. Jungian psychology intersects with modern attachment theory, revealing why emotional independence can be both magnetic and threatening. Anxiously attached men may feel panic, fear, or obsessive interest when a woman stops needing them. Avoidantly attached men may initially withdraw, but experience internal tension and longing. Securely attached men may appreciate her autonomy, but still encounter shadow material that challenges their self-image. These dynamics explain why a man's behavior can appear contradictory. He may pull away, then pursue intensely, reflecting his inner struggle between independence and desire. Feminine energy as a mirror. The woman's emotional self-sufficiency acts as a mirror. She is no longer a vessel for his needs or validation. Instead, she reflects his own hidden vulnerabilities back to him. If he is denied his own emotional depth, he may feel exposed, even threatened. If he has repressed dependency fears, he may attempt to test or provoke reactions to gauge his place in the dynamic. If he has unacknowledged desire, it can surface as fascination, pursuit, or subtle attempts to regain influence. From a Jungian perspective, the woman's independence is an archetypal challenge. It confronts the man with the inner reality of his anima and shadow, compelling him to engage with what he has long ignored, the dance of power and vulnerability. Stopping neediness doesn't just shift the emotional dynamic. It reshapes the balance of power in subtle, psychological ways. A man may respond with curiosity, observing your behavior, testing boundaries, gauging your reactions; admiration, quiet respect for your autonomy; internal struggle, fear of rejection or inadequacy; magnetic attraction, a draw toward the self-sufficient energy he cannot control. This dance of power and vulnerability is not about manipulation. It is a natural reflection of unconscious processes. Jung emphasized that conscious awareness transforms these unconscious dynamics into growth, rather than conflict. Obsession and emotional mystery. When independence awakens as shadow, obsession can sometimes emerge, not as a negative force, but as an unconscious desire for integration. He may fixate on your behavior, words, or routines. He may imagine scenarios where he gains influence or control. He may feel an internal tension that he cannot name. This obsession is a sign that your emotional self-sufficiency is activating deep, previously hidden layers of his psyche. The key for women is to maintain presence without falling into reactive patterns. Do not try to control, chase, or manipulate. Let the magnetism of independence do the work, while you remain centered in your own awareness. Shadow integration and masculine growth. A man's hidden response is not inherently negative. It provides an opportunity for psychological integration. Recognizing his shadow allows him to confront denied feelings. Projection becomes awareness, revealing unacknowledged needs. Emotional depth increases as he engages with his anima and vulnerability. From a Jungian perspective, the awakening triggered by your independence can catalyze personal growth, leading him toward more authentic, conscious masculinity. Subtle signs of hidden desire. When a man is internally stirred by a woman who stops needing him, the signs are subtle. Lingering glances or attention, even when he appears indifferent. Increased attempt to communicate, often indirectly. Small acts of care or thoughtfulness that were previously absent. Moments of vulnerability or sharing that break his usual composure. Understanding these signs allows a woman to read the unconscious emotional landscape, reinforcing clarity and avoiding misinterpretation. Feminine magnetism and conscious boundaries. Your independence is not just a psychological trigger. It is feminine magnetism in action. Jungian psychology teaches that embracing your own power, emotional awareness, and autonomy amplifies attraction. Setting boundaries communicates self-respect and self-containment. Acting from conscious presence rather than neediness maintains allure. Emotional consistency creates stability, inviting deeper engagement from a shadow. This is why women who stop needing men often experience a profound shift in relational dynamics. The man's hidden self emerges, revealing desire, respect, and sometimes obsession, all without manipulation. By now, it's clear that independence triggers a man's shadow and anima. Projection loops amplify attraction and internal tension. Attachment patterns influence his hidden responses. Feminine energy acts as a mirror for his unconscious self. Obsession or fascination is often a reflection of internal shadow work. When approached consciously, these dynamics reveal profound truths about masculinity desire, and relational psychology. When a woman stops needing a man, she has already shifted the dynamic. She has claimed emotional sovereignty. The final stage is conscious engagement, interacting with him while maintaining self-possession and insight into the shadow dynamics at play, recognizing and respecting his shadow. Every man carries parts of himself he refuses to acknowledge. Jung calls this the shadow. When triggered, it can manifest as sudden withdrawal, moments of tension or test behaviors, heightened curiosity or attention, subtle acts of vulnerability. The conscious woman does not react impulsively. She observes. She notices patterns, understands triggers, and does not take projection personally. This emotional detachment is not coldness. It is clarity. She is aware that his hidden behaviors are reflections of his unconscious, not reflections of her worth. By respecting his shadow and maintaining boundaries, she allows him to confront his own inner truths without interference, fostering growth rather than chaos. Integrating feminine magnetism. Feminine magnetism is a natural power that arises when a woman embodies self-sufficiency, emotional awareness, and authenticity. Jungian psychology frames this as a resonance with the masculine psyche, specifically activating the anima and shadow within him. Key elements of conscious feminine magnetism include presence, being fully engaged yet self-contained; boundaries, clear limits without rigidity; mystery, allowing space for curiosity and fascination; emotional literacy, understanding one's own emotions before responding; empathy without merging compassion, without losing autonomy. This combination creates an irresistible, yet balanced, pull. He is drawn to you, but cannot dominate or define your sense of self. The art of silence and emotional control. Silence is a powerful tool. When used consciously, it amplifies curiosity, desire, and introspection in a man. Jungian psychology emphasizes that reflection allows the unconscious to surface. Silence after confrontation allows him to observe himself and his reactions. Strategic pauses in communication prevent projection loops from escalating. Emotional control demonstrates mastery of self, triggering his anima and shadow. This is why the woman who stops needing him becomes magnetic, not through manipulation, but through presence, balance, and self-awareness. Emotional triggers as opportunities. Every subtle reaction he exhibits is a window into his unconscious mind. If he becomes possessive, it may indicate fear of loss or inadequacy. If he pursues more actively, it may reflect unacknowledged desire. If he withdraws, it may signal fear of vulnerability or emotional confrontation. Observing these triggers without reacting emotionally allows a woman to gain psychological clarity, deepen understanding, and maintain empowerment. Shadow work and practice. Practical shadow work in relational dynamics involves observation, notice his behaviors, but do not internalize them; reflection, identify patterns that may correspond with your own triggers; integration, learn lessons from the projections and reactions; boundary response, act consciously rather than react emotionally. This approach transforms the relationship from a projection battlefield into a mirror for conscious growth. Masculine vulnerability and feminine strength. Jung taught that the masculine and feminine are complementary energies within all humans. A woman embodying emotional independence challenges a man to engage with his inner masculine and feminine. His inner masculine seeks to act, protect, and contribute. His anima, the inner feminine, seeks connection, emotional depth, and receptivity. When a woman does not need him, she is no longer a safety net or a mirror for unconscious dependency. This forces him to confront his own vulnerability, often hidden beneath layers of ego or control. The result is an intense psychological awakening. He may experience fear, attraction, desire, and curiosity all at once. Attachment, obsession, and fascination. The moment a woman stops needing a man, Jungian psychology shows us that obsession is often unconscious fascination. He is drawn to the mystery, independence, and authenticity he cannot control. Anxious attachment amplifies this response, creating push-pull dynamics. Avoidant attachment may initially resist, but internal tension rises. Secure attachment engages curiosity without drama. Understanding these patterns allows a woman to navigate attraction consciously, keeping her own emotional equilibrium while observing his unconscious pull. Advanced strategies for conscious engagement. Maintain emotional sovereignty. Do not seek approval or validation. Observe, don't react. Watch for projections and shadow activations. Mirror awareness subtly. Respond his behaviors without judgment. Balance intimacy and independence. Create connection without dependency. Encourage conscious reflection. Subtle questions or space for thought stimulate growth. By implementing these strategies, a woman becomes magnetically irresistible while maintaining full control of her inner life. Transformative power of understanding. Knowing the secret a man hides transforms relationships. Conflict is minimized because projection loops are recognized. Attraction deepens because psychological tension is conscious, not reactive. Emotional growth is mutual, as both partners confront shadow material. Dependency is replaced with respect, curiosity, and fascination. Jungian psychology emphasizes that the unconscious is the engine of transformation. By understanding it, a woman not only observes his hidden self, but also deepens her own feminine power, self-awareness, and emotional mastery. When you stop needing a man, you reveal his hidden self. You activate his shadow and anima. You awaken fascination and attraction. You create a dynamic of mutual growth. But above all, you empower yourself. Your independence is the most profound truth in a relationship. It is magnetic, illuminating, and transformative. This is a secret few ever realize. A man's hidden self emerges not through chasing, not through control, but through a woman's presence, clarity, and sovereignty. Remember, relationships are mirrors of the unconscious. Your independence is not just an act. It is a reflection of your wholeness. Observe without attachment. Respond consciously. Maintain boundaries. Integrate your shadow. Respect his. The moment you stop needing him is the moment truth, desire, and psychological depth converge. His hidden self will rise, but your own power, self-possession, and clarity will remain untouched, unshaken, and magnetic. Walk this path with awareness. The journey is not just about him. It is about your awakening, your mastery, and your transformation.